said, Al Nosik Reim Mitzrayim. So Rashi cited 3 reasons why he doesn't want to be buried in Egypt. The first is because the earth is going to turn to lice. The second is because the Mesa Chutzlords, those who are buried after, will have to roll underground because Tchias Mesa, everybody's going to be resurrected in Eretz Yisrael. So there's a certain degree of pain. And the third was that he'll be deified. That was his concern. So it once spoken, the Gemara says in Bava Metzia that in the old days, how did they identify a grave? A grave didn't necessarily have a tombstone on it. Because in the olden days, if a Kohen would pass over a Beis HaKvaros, a cemetery, a grave, he'd become contaminated, which was complicated. Especially he needed the paraduma, and he wouldn't be able to eat truma. It was complicated. So they would take the graves where the people were buried, they would whitewash the graves. They take whitewash, and they would cover it so that wherever you saw it was white, because bones, only after the body decomposes, the bones remain. So that would signify and indicate that there were bones there. But every once in a while, because of the winter rains, every year the graves would have to be repainted, re-whitewashed. So Rashi says over there, so Mara says that one of the Moroim went and whitewashed the graves. Why? Because if the coin becomes tummy because of the person buried there, there's a degree of culpability for the person who's buried. For the one who's buried. So I asked the question, the man who's buried there, did he have a choice? He was buried there, and so the coin became tummy. Why is there any level of liability to the person buried there? So you see clearly, anytime anything negative comes about because of anybody, even it's something which is inadvertent, that's Megalgus Chayev. Hashem causes negatives to come about upon people who are not meritorious. You're meritorious, Hashem causes you should not be. Even if something has to happen, it doesn't have to come through you. Like the makkah, like the parapet on the roof, right? Doesn't have to come through you. Person has to die, let him die some other way. Doesn't have to come as a result of what you. So that is the idea. Let's say Yaakov be deified. Why is Yaakov liable? First, that's something personal. The kingdom, he personally will suffer. He has to roll, he will suffer. They'll deify him, therefore what? I mean, here it's a lot easier. I mean, because a person like Yaakov, I mean, here you're trying to dispel, to remove Avodah Zarah from the world. And you should be the one to contribute. By being buried there, you're contributing to what? To paganism. They're going to deify you, so that's paganism. Here it's a lot easier. And not only that, here also, if he has any way that he can prevent himself being buried there, so that's called he's contributing to it. The Kohen, wherever he's buried, somebody may pass over the grave. Yaakov is only going to be deified in Egypt, correct? So if there's any way he could prevent that from coming about, that's not called an ones. It's something beyond his ability. You could have prevented it from happening. So it's a combination of things here. I'm not sure how deeply they bury in Egypt. Okay, so you have a proof from here, from this Chazal. But there's another Chazal, which is not mentioned by Rashi, which I always mention every year, where Yaakov said, we find that Egypt is compared to the donkey. Correct? Because it says, B'sar chamor b'sorim, the flesh of the donkey is the dunk. And he says, I'm what? I'm the seh. He says, I'm compared to a seh, to a sheep. Why? Because it cites a pasuk in Novi. The Novi says, Seh Pezuri Yisrael. The Jewish people are the scapegoat. Scapegoat. Seh Pezura Yisrael. So Yisrael is the Seh. And the Torah says if you have a firstborn donkey, you have one or two choices, either to redeem it or to break its neck. Right? It says Tifte Chamor Tifte B'Seh. He says, because I'm the Seh, they're the Chamor. If I'm buried there, I don't want to be their redemption. I don't want to redeem them. Therefore, I'll take bury Mitzrayim. Therefore, don't bury me in Egypt. That's the Yalkut. Sounds good, right? Yeah, but the question, what does it mean? He's a Seh, they're a Chamor. First of all, what kind of redemption is he? Being they're buried there, that's some kind of level of redemption. What's the redemption? Correct? So what I once said, just to perk your memories a little bit. So Egypt, what are they? When you worship a deity, in what we do? One, to try to address its will, because the more you accommodate it, the more it will reciprocate. That's the whole idea. You worship, you bring food, you sacrifice to it. So whatever they believe happens, there's going to be a response from the deity. The deity will respond with whatever, with the bracha. Yaakov is a deity. How would they worship him? Yaakov was known as a spiritual person. He was totally detached from physicality. So to emulate him, so if you'd emulate Yaakov, what would you do? To be more spiritual. What would that do to the Egyptians? It would elevate them. Here they're depraved, they're involved in everything which is abominable. By worshipping him, they would wean themselves from that. But if they wean themselves from abomination, what are they doing? They're elevating themselves. If they're elevating themselves, they're tivte besed, they're less chomer. As the Maharal says, why they compare to chamorim? Because they have the least relevance to spirituality of all the 70 nations of the world. So as a result of that, by winning them, I'll be podeh the chamor. Which means I'm weaning them from the chomer, from the material. They're less physical. And that's a problem. Why is it a problem? Because the reason why we were put in the Mitzrayim, it's because only from there the greatest rises. You only have the greatest ascent if you're at a level which is totally devoid of spirituality. That's why the Shiva Mitzrayim took place specifically in Mitzrayim. So by Yaakov elevating them, spiritually speaking, he's minimizing what the end result is going to be. Therefore, I'll take B'rei Mitzrayim because I don't want to be the pigeon for the Chamor, because I will actually remove them from the classifications Chomer, and they will no longer be Chomer. That's what I once said. Remember, Alan? Okay.
That works if you know, because you know where we're supposed to be. But shouldn't we, on a level, try to make them more spiritual? Why not try? I mean, because we knew that.
You have no obligation to spiritualize the world.
What's that?
You have no obligation to go to the Vatican and turn the Pope into a tzaddik. You understand?
I understand. But don't. Because we knew that we had to be in that level of Egypt. That's why we shouldn't do it.
Yaakov understood the reason why Sheba and Mitzrayim already was. Avram Avinu knew we were going to Egypt. Why did Hashem choose Egypt? Why not somewhere else? Because Egypt is the low man on totem pole.
We got to keep them low as low.
Now we have to keep them. We're not causing them to be lower. That's what they are. Do we do anything to elevate them?
So what's all they do? What about the idea that the claim?
That's ultimate at the end of time. Yashem el melech al kol oretz.
Right. What about the claim?
He's holding Balein. You walking out? You have the Yom. The Yom is after Oleinu. That's a joke. Okay. No, we became idolaters. We became. First of all, when it says hello, we weren't the Avodah Zarah then, at that moment. Of the past. So there's liability.
But such a serious liability, we might not have been saved.
Okay, I have to leave that for tomorrow. I mean, you could ask a question, but factually, as I said, Yosef caused them to do Milah, right? He would not give them the food unless they circumcised themselves. So he elevated them. Because that was for us. Right? We should be able to survive it. Right? Right. So you have to make that differentiation. Yeah, but it still was an elevation. I mentioned, so whatever it is, but it's an elevation. No, the Muslims is better than the Egyptians. Of course, not today's Muslims. When Yishmael was circumcised, that was an obligation to circumcise him. The Arabs today, they have no obligation to be circumcised. They do it because they're the descendants of Yishmael.